Let's get this straight. If you've been calling yourself lazy lately, you're probably diagnosing the wrong problem. Most men don't become lazy. They become overloaded. And when overload becomes chronic, the brain shifts into protection mode. Protection mode feels like procrastination. It looks like low ambition. It shows up as, I'll start tomorrow. But it's not weakness, it's energy conservation. Look at your typical day. You wake up. Before your feet hit the floor, you check your phone. Emails, news, markets, texts. Your brain starts reacting before it starts thinking. By 10 a.m., you've already made dozens of micro decisions. By noon, your attention is fragmented. By 6 p.m., you still have important work to do, the kind that actually moves your life forward. Maybe it's building a new skill. Maybe it's planning expansion in your business. Maybe it's studying for a certification. Maybe it's finally mapping out your next career move. You sit down and suddenly you don't feel like it. So you scroll or reorganize something unimportant or tell yourself you'll start fresh tomorrow. And quietly you think, what happened to my drive? Let's slow that down. Let's take Chris. He runs a logistics company in Ohio. Revenue is decent. Margins are average. Growth is possible. He knows what needs to be done. He needs better systems, better negotiation, better long-term strategy. But instead of doing the strategic work, he spends hours inside operations, answering small issues, fixing minor inefficiencies, doing work that feels productive but doesn't scale. At night, he wants to read about supply chain optimization. Instead, he watches videos. He thinks he lacks discipline. But discipline isn't the issue. Neurochemistry is. Your brain runs on dopamine. Dopamine is not pleasure. It is motivation. It signals this action is worth spending energy on. When dopamine signaling is healthy, effort feels justified. When dopamine sensitivity drops, effort feels expensive. And here's what reduces dopamine sensitivity: chronic stress, sleep disruption, constant stimulation, task switching, emotional pressure. When cortisol stays elevated for long periods, dopamine receptors become less responsive, which means the same task that once felt exciting now feels draining. Not because you changed, because your receptors did. Now add modern stimulation, short-form videos, constant notifications, micro rewards every few minutes. Each spike of artificial stimulation raises the reward threshold. So when you sit down to build something long-term, something uncertain and slow, your brain compares it to instant reward and says, not worth it. So you delay. Delay becomes habit. Habit becomes identity. And identity shapes outcome. Let's talk about sleep. Deep sleep restores dopamine receptor sensitivity. REM sleep recalibrates emotional regulation. If you sleep but don't enter enough deep sleep, because stress remains high, because screens are late, because your mind never shuts off, you wake up under-recovered. Under-recovered brains conserve energy. They avoid optional effort. They choose short-term comfort over long-term gain. That's not laziness, that's protection. Now here's why this matters financially. When drive drops, you avoid negotiations that could increase income. You delay building systems that scale revenue. You postpone skill acquisition that increases market value. You tolerate mediocrity longer than you should. Over 5 years, that gap compounds. High earners are not always smarter. They protect cognitive energy better. They maintain motivation circuits longer. They operate from regulated systems. So how do you fix it? Not with hype, not with self-criticism, with recalibration. Step 1, stop flooding. Dopamine. No phone for the first 45 to 60 minutes of the day. No cheap stimulation before meaningful output. You are lowering the artificial reward baseline. Within weeks, focus feels easier. Not magical, just less resistant. Step 2, one high leverage block. Every day, one 45-minute block minimum. No switching, no checking, no multitasking. Work on something that compounds, a system, a skill, a strategic asset, a revenue lever. One block per day equals roughly 20 hours per month of deep work. Most people never produce that consistently. That's competitive advantage. Step 3, regulate stress physically. Exercise increases dopamine receptor density. It lowers baseline cortisol. It improves executive function. This is not aesthetic. This is neurological leverage. You're not training your body. You're training your reward system. Step 4, guard recovery. Consistent sleep time, morning light exposure, reduce late caffeine, evening decompression. You don't need more motivation. You need a stable nervous system. Now zoom out. Imagine you restore drive over 60 to 90 days. Your energy stabilizes. You execute daily. You finish what you start. You think clearer in meetings. You negotiate with less hesitation. You build systems instead of reacting. Your income trajectory changes. Not because you hustled harder, because you stopped leaking cognitive energy. Here's the shift. Stop asking, why am I lazy? Start asking, is my brain overstimulated and under-recovered? Fix stimulation, fix stress, fix sleep, fix structure. Drive follows. Clarity follows. Output increases, and output consistently applied increases income. You are not broken. You are dysregulated. Regulation restores ambition. Ambition restores execution. Execution restores leverage, and leverage changes your life. Quietly, steadily, without drama. Protect your brain, protect your drive, and let discipline become a byproduct of stability. That's how serious men build durable success.